I want to do something different. It's weird. It comes from an element like, I want to prove a point, but not to anyone else, to myself and my own capabilities and ability that I can do bigger and better than this. And that doesn't go away. That's till now. I still want to do better.
Wiji is the CEO of Vertu Phones and the Phone Surgery, which operates in Harrods, the epitome of luxury.
People don't take it. They look down on retail, and I don't get that sometimes. You can make a brand out of it, you can make a business out of it, you can make a good living out of it, but it's up to you. When it comes to business and work ethics, there isn't anyone bigger inspiration for me than my dad. Till today, he's nearly 65 and he's still hustling more than me.
What defines excellence within your business to you?
It's keeping my team. Like, I was speaking to someone the other day and I said, I want you to buy a house from this job now. That is success for me now. But deep down, I'm still that same guy that used to live on top of a off license with broken windows and likes to do the normal things in life, but with genuine people.
Wiji, welcome. First of all, to the Runway to Excellence. I was so excited when we met last week and you sort of were digging in slightly to your story. And I was like, you know what? Please save it, because you've got to come on my podcast. So I'd like to really take it back to the very, very beginning of your journey. I know that you came to the UK when you were very young. So tell me about that. How did this all start?
Sure. So firstly, thank you for having me over. I do appreciate it. Yes, so it's a bit of a journey for myself getting to the UK. So originally, my parents are from Afghanistan. We are Sikh, Punjabi, but they were born and bred in Afghanistan. They had to obviously leave the country because of the war. And then we sought asylum in Holland. And I think we lived there for about 8 years. So when I go to Holland, I was about 2.5 years old. We lived in Holland and obviously got Dutch citizenship, which we still hold. But the opportunity wasn't there for my dad. It's very limited what you could do in the business or job environment. And we had a lot of family in the UK and the culture. As you can see, I'm from an Asian background, so there's a lot more Asian culture here. You felt a bit more home here, but Holland doesn't have that. So my dad decided, great, we're going to move to the UK, better opportunity, more of a culture. And he made that move. Bear in mind, I was very well settled in Holland, speak the language, you got your friend circle, school. So it was a bit kind of daunting for me and my siblings. We moved to the UK in 2002. Bear in mind, in Holland, they don't speak English, or they do a class like every other month. So knew limited word of English. Myself, my brother, my sister, my dad, my mum. My dad decided to purchase an off license and a convenience store. Kind of bought from there. I started going to school. I think I started midway through year 9. So you can imagine I'm going into my school, first day, no friends, no circle. Can't speak a word of English, just yes, no. It's very daunting. Coming from a place where I had a good group of circle, football, that kind of thing. Somehow I managed to get through year 9, year 10, get my GCSEs done. Big challenges, a lot of bullying. I didn't understand the kind of different casting and cultures within the Indian community here as well. You had a lot more different communities, where in Holland it was, you're Indian, you're Afghan. It wasn't that. So there's a lot of deep learning. But during that time, while I was kind of going through school and all that, I still had to help my dad out. So I used to work with him after school at his shop, weekends, and kind of really help him, support him, and kind of self-taught myself. Obviously managed to get through the school journey, college, and kind of, I think it knocked me down quite a lot, but it kind of made me who I am today. I love the challenge, and that's what kind of made me go for my journey so far.
So you talk about being bullied.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know what that's like too. How did that impact you, being able to get up in the morning and still power through it? Do you think that's had a major impact in how resilient you are in your life today?
I think yes. And I think an element of that comes in back to our parents. They kind of took that risk of leaving their home country, going to one country, then another country, and getting up and dealing with it every day. Seeing my dad, my mum, and it kind of it's like second nature to us. Like, you don't have a choice of not going to school or trying to go hide in a corner. No, you just get up and deal with it. I remember in very early days when my dad bought that shop, and there was like 14, 15-year-old kids. So they used to come and egg that store every evening. Because there's a new owner, let's go egg the store, the Asians, whatever, corner shop. And he used to have it every single evening. And it goes to like, why did we leave Holland? We were comfortable. We weren't going through it. For the kids, it was fun. But for us, it was actually traumatizing. It knocked us back. And then eventually, somehow we managed to get hold of those kids and the police got involved. And the police said, do you want to press charges? My dad said, no, I don't want to do that. And then it completely changed. Because those people weren't actually realizing what they were doing. They didn't think they were bullying. They're just having fun. But for us, it was just like, you know what? Let's get through it. Let's get through it. And you actually end up being on your own, but it works in your favor because you're your own safe zone. And that's where, similar to why doing your business, it's just you really. Yes, you've got a team, but they've all got their own jobs, their own roles, their own responsibilities, and they will come to you for finding what to do, how to do it, but you've got no one. You're just stuck with yourself and you have to make your decisions, and whether it's right or wrong, it's just you.
What do you think the biggest sacrifices that you made as a family were back then in order to be where you are, or even to leave Holland and enter the UK and start businesses here from scratch without knowing anybody really, or knowing the languages or anything like that? You know, what do you think the biggest sacrifices are that you can look back and look at your parents and think, right, if you hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am?
I think you go back to where you're just humble. We have clothes from charity. We didn't have a car for many years. We used to walk from Uxbridge, from where we had a shop to Uxbridge. When you have to go to banking, we used to walk. There's no car. We never lived beyond our means. And that's what I think it comes from my dad. There's a saying within our community is only kind of spread your legs until where the sheet is. So don't go above and beyond it. Don't live beyond your expectations and abilities. And he did everything step by step. And when I used to see that, I feel, okay, milestone 1, then you can go get a TV. Milestone 2, you can go buy a bed. You don't do that all in one go. You take time and patience and hard work.
It's funny that you should say that, because I remember that coming up in our conversation when we met last week, obviously in the capacity that, you know, I'm going to help you with recruitment. But, you know, when you were talking about being a business owner and not going too far and doing everything step by step. And I'm going to go into all of that because you've clearly built a really successful business. But what I'm keen to understand is what your first job was.
So obviously bear in mind, when we moved to the UK, I used to help with my dad's off license. So that was my main thing, serving customers, filling up shelves, all that element of it. When I knew that dad was well settled and I started college, and during that time, I was used to go with my cousins. They used to have market stores. So Wembley Market, West International Market. So I used to be in the stores on a Saturday. Used to go set up the store at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, freezing cold. Summer was alright, but freezing cold. Set up a store, and they used to be in the tech industry. So at those days, you used to have different covers for Nokia's, unlocking, flashing aerials, all that kind of element. So they used to have their own business, and I used to go there, work for them. Cash in hand, easy. But it was one thing, it was a hustle mode. So that's why I used to do that. I used to do it as a weekend thing, but still study and college. While I did that, I feel like, nah, I need something a bit more professional. I've kind of got my comfort zone. I can speak the language. I want more and I want better. And I want to know what corporate works. I know how branding works. So I think I applied for a Christmas stamp at Phones for You. And they were very big at that time. So I got a job as a Christmas stamp, selling pay-as-you-goes during Christmas. Really did well at it because I could sell. I knew that. And it was in Hounslow, once again, Asian community. So I could get on, speak my language, use all that kind of attributes. And they said, great, you did great at Christmas, and we're going to make you a sales consultant. At that time, they never used to do sales consultant part-time. You had to do a full-time job to be able to sell contracts. But they said, you know, because you did so great, let's do that. Got into that, became a sales consultant, and Phones for You was great at commission. Like you sell a contract, you used to make great money. Had great leaders, great managers that kind of really supported me in my early days. Worked through it, and obviously got too big for my boots and got sacked.
How did you get sacked?
You know, when you go for an element, you think you're untouchable. You think I can do anything and I won't get caught out. It was silly things I did, and I think it was the biggest. A lot of things I've done in the past, I've learned from them, and that's why I can do what I can do now. Got sacked, devastated because I had such a big friend circle. We used to chill together. I thought, great, what do I do now? I said, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to go work somewhere else. So then I went to work for T-Mobile. Same element, went in there in Oxbridge, did really well as a sales consultant. And then I said, I want to become a senior. I want to lead a bit kind of thing. They said, we don't offer something like this for part-timers because you're at uni and college. I said, no, I want to make it happen. 6
But
months
what
later.
were you studying though?
I was doing business.
Okay, fine.
So it was always going to come to business because dad is in business. We don't know anything else. When we sit on the table, when we have dinner, it's never about how are you? How's your day been? We're talking transactions. Business happened, this, that happened. And that is a natural chat in us. If me and my dad sit in front of me or my brother, it'd be awkward for me to ask him, how was your day? I'll feel awkward. He will feel awkward. What do? We can't. We are only talking work. It's sad, but it's what we are. It's how we are because that's what we've been born with. So I was studying business, kept on going. I went to Oxford College. Once again, a team a while, got the job, got progress very quickly, great leaders, got sacked again.
But what were you doing that was so bad? You've got to spill the tea here.
You manipulate. That's what you do because you're money hungry. You start manipulating, you want to make more commission. You're trying to maximize where you can, maybe not the right way. But at team a while, it wasn't actually my fault. But there was a restructuring happening in the team and they needed a scapegoat. And sometimes to make that point as a leader, you get rid of your best person to say, you know what, I'm okay. Look, it wasn't me, it was them. So I learned a lot at that time. I said, you got to make sure you keep your leaders to yourself. You kind of keep positive, all that kind of element. Obviously, but once again, got sacked, whatever reason, great, devastated again. I said, I'm good at it. I'm going to go again. Worked at 3. Did the same thing, worked at 3. Bear in mind, I had to travel more, build up a team kind of thing. Did that. And I kind of worked in the mobile phone industry. There's been something about mobile phones all my life. From my family to my dad and then myself, it's always been, every time I try escaping, I end up going back in there. I said, okay, fine.
Don't tell me you got sacked again.
No, I didn't. That was the first job I left. Yeah, so that's the first job I left.
Yeah.
And I learned through these phone shops I worked at. It was great because I knew money was to be made. But what I also realized during that time is everyone's just selling contracts. There's no aftercare. People used to break their phones, nothing for it. No, you can't fix a phone, or you can fix a phone, it's going to go take 2 weeks and then come back to us. So you end up selling a contract. And I thought, now there's a gap there. And it was always in my head that there's some sort of space there, but I said, leave it to the side. I don't want to do business. My dad does business. I see the sacrifices. I don't want to do it. I want to go work. Finished college, went to uni, Westminster, business, finance, did my degree. And I said, okay, now I want to go to banking. I want to be that guy that dresses up in a suit, wants to work in city, look good, feel good. I went and worked at Barclays as a personal banker. Got there for a year and I feel like this is great. I've got something about myself that I need to progress, I need to develop. I can't stay still.
I'm scared that you're going to tell me you got sacked.
No, I didn't. No, okay. The sacking industry is done. No, so kept on going, go as a personal banker. And because it's weird because I was working in a branch, but everyone that was working in there was working there for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 15 years. And they all had a routine. We would do this and 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 the same results. And I said, nah. Once I got comfortable, I said, nah, I'm going to change it. So I started doing things differently and the results were crazy. They were like, what? Who's this new guy? What does he think of himself? But because I was bringing results, the manager was happy. Great. They started then shaping their structure around me. Changes, but I said, no, I need more money now. I was quite money hungry, let's be honest, because that's how I've kind of been brought up. You need money to survive. Got to Barclays, got managed from personal banker to a business manager, and I found I'm getting bored. There's no progressions. I need more money. Better than mine, my dad had still shops, but he went from 1 shop to 2 shops to 3 shops to 4 shops, and he kind of had a chain of stores, what he was doing. So he was doing great. We went from we used to live on top of our shop in Uxbridge with broken windows, no bed, no heating, to him having his first house, having cars, all that kind of stuff. So financially, we were kind of building ourselves up. We got well established within the community where we would attend events before. We now can probably go in there, dress well, feel good. But I said, I need to do something for myself. I don't want to join the business. I don't want to get that. I don't want to do that. Then I said, okay, fine. I want to go work in city. I went and worked for Ernst and Young. It's an auditing firm, one of the top big 4s. How I got that job, I don't know. But how I got that role, I don't know, because that role didn't make sense. But I want to be in London, so I'm blagging my way through the interview. Somehow I got the job. And I'm sitting there thinking, a month later, she went, I hate this. I cannot do this. Because it was an office job. I wasn't dealing with clients. I wasn't selling anything. And one day, one of my seniors goes to me, could you go make tea for everyone? And I thought, wow. It wasn't making the tea wasn't an issue for the team, but it's the way she did it and in front of people. And it brought back all those memories of being bullied again. And it was from the Asian community. And it hits more because you know how they kind of deliver a certain message. It was not respectful. It was very disrespectful. You work underneath me, so go do this for me. Got up and I said, I'm leaving. Goodbye. I said, I'm not doing this. And I thought, I'm not going to get bullied again anymore. Left that, had no job for 3 to 4 months, but I knew went to car sales. So I went to Audi. No experience with car sales.
I like an Audi.
Yeah, loved it. Worked at West London as a sales, became a business manager there. And once again, I had great leaders with me. The leadership team I had, certain people that I work with, which I'm still in touch with it, made me what I am today. Discipline.
Do you know what's really really interesting about what you've been saying throughout this? And you're a great storyteller, by the way.
Am I?
And I knew that anyway from when I first met you. But you've spoken a lot about great leaders. And what we say a lot in the recruitment world is that people that come to us, really, it's when they're looking for a new job. It's not because they want to leave their job, because essentially they're going to go in to do something quite similar again, which is what, you know, when we look at your career, consistently you've done that, right? You've gone from one sales role essentially to another. But you don't leave your job, you leave your boss. And what's really nice is that listening to you and knowing how important that is for you and your businesses, and for us now to have been able to put a leader into your business is so incredible, to know that that person's now going to lead a team underneath you, who's got all those attributes, you know? So it's just really interesting to hear that, because it's actually a common theme that we're hearing all the time. And when candidates are coming to us and they're looking to leave their jobs, it's a common theme that comes up every single day. You know, I'm not getting on with my boss, or, you know, my current manager doesn't see that I'm capable of progressing within this business. And it was just interesting to hear that. So you were at Audi.
Yeah.
And you said you had great leaders there, and that helped you. But eventually you've gone back to mobile phones, where it all started. So how did that come about?
So being at Audi, I was in West London. I had obviously great managers, I had great leaders. And I'm a big believer, you work for people that you like and you go above and beyond. And my nature was go above and beyond and you develop, your progress. And that was always the case. And I knew that formula worked. Whether it was telling numbers, whatever, I did it. I got given a senior role in a different branch. Bullying again. Because I was a minority. But I was more confident. So I raised it up. And I said, nah, I'm not accepting this. Took it to senior members. They sat me down. They knew I was right. And they knew the other person was wrong, which was a junior. But maybe my skin color. They said, nah, just let it go. I said, why? Let's just let it go. I said, okay. Next day, handed my resignation. I said, I'm not going to bully again. But I made a commitment to myself now. I'm not going to go work for someone else.
So was that your last
That
employed
was my last
job?
That's my last job. I said, I can't do this anymore. Because every time I do this, I get, whether I can speak the language, what my skin color is, there is some sort of door that keeps on blocking it. People keep on pushing me down. I don't want that. I know I'm capable of it and I will do the hard work, but I'm not going to get bullied anymore. But there's an element of being bullied throughout the whole journey. And it depends how you take bullying on. Like for me, it was like, okay, so let me go prove them wrong. So while I was handling my resignation, they were like, wow, why are you handling resignation? And some of the other leaders from the other stores and branches got in touch with me and told me, and they said, come back to us. You're great. I said, no, I've made my mind up. Because eventually it's going to happen the same thing again. So during that time, my dad obviously was doing very well. And my brother had actually a phone shop. And he was doing good. I said, great. I reached out to him. I said, how's the phone shop industry? Is it growing and everything? And it was just a phone call, random phone call. And he goes, yeah, it's doing very well. I've actually opened a second branch. I said, look, is there an opportunity there for me? He goes, definitely. Because he goes, you understand how brand works. You worked in large organization. You're about structuring. And I'm a very process kind of guy, leadership, all that kind of, where he's maybe a businessman, in and out, done and dusted. That's it. I said, great. I said, okay, then I'm going to join you. So we had the size of this room, really, a phone shop, very basic, repairing.
Where was this one?
This was in Brentford.
Okay.
So we used to just do basic repairs. And it's like any other phone shop. And he opened another shop in Shepperton, in Surrey. Now, this was a standalone, a bigger shop. And he took that thing because he saw, look, we're making money, great. I said, great. But I said, I have been out of that industry for nearly 10 years. So what am I going to do? How am I going to do? I said, fine, let me learn the basic. So I sat there in a shop. I knew I could talk to people and I could sell, but how do you repair phones? I've got no idea. How do I open it? What do I do? I said, great. So I spent about 3 or 4 months, sat there and learned how to repair, watching the staff, how they did it, some self-learning through YouTube and everything. And I said, okay, I felt like I've gone back. Because bear in mind, Audi, suited and booted, working in these massive billion-pound dealership, had a company car. And I'm now here sitting in a small shop and doing labor work. So there was that moment I feel like, have I made a mistake? But I said, this is my own. Because whether we make a penny, it comes to us. And whether we spend a penny, it comes to us. And I said, okay, great. I said, persevere that kind of challenge. And I said, now I'm going to turn. It was a moment I said, my brother's name is Sonny. I said, Sonny, I'm going to make this a brand. And he goes, what do you mean? I say, I want to make us a brand that believes in quality aftercare service. And we're not going to have 1 or 2, but we're going to have 10 plus branches. And he said, great, go do it. I said, great. I'm going to rebrand everything. I'm going to change everything. So we then decided to open a store in Uxbridge. Now it's a massive jump in a busy high street. And that's when the birth of Phone Surgery came alive. So Phone Surgery is a brand I still run. And we opened Uxbridge brand and it looked like a 3-store, T-Mobile store. Branding wise, I made it up to that level. Professional, clean, sleek. Because what I understood is the market I'm aiming for is quality clientele. People that can trust us to come with their devices. Because the perception of that market of any phone shop was, you would take your phone, they would take stuff out of it, and they will give you a broken phone. The trust element wasn't there. I said, the first thing I want to do is win trust. How do you win trust? First impression. So made the stores upper market, quality, backed with great hiring. So we hired good technicians, good salespeople, myself. And I was on the ground. So I was opening stores, closing stores, running stores, everything. Made the brand strong. From Uxbridge, we ended up opening, I think we got 14 stores now. So within a very short space of time, we ended up opening multiple stores. And Sunny used to handle more operational, where I was more the retail kind of funny. Things started looking good. I've got a team of nearly from 2 people to 4 people to 10 people to 15 to 45 people. But during that challenge, and I think you rightly mentioned, finding the right people. People used to come and go and I lose. But I realized that my foundation was strong. A lot of the people end up staying with me. And the saying there is, we want to work for you, Wiji. We don't want to work in the shop, but we want to work for you. And that's the same thing that I used to do for my manager. So they stayed and still work with us, obviously. Then COVID came. And we had just opened our biggest flagship store in Reading Oracle Shopping Centre under Apple. So Apple used to be above and we opened our Reading store. Now, potentially our worst store, our worst time, but equally the same year, my mom got diagnosed with cancer. Now, bear in mind, if my mom was in this room, she would have been the most powerful energy. And that's the kind of character she was. Health, fit, everything. She got diagnosed in March 2019 and she passed away in September. So it was 6 months that happened very quickly.
Literally, I think the month after my dad passed away.
6 months. Now, bear in mind, the kind of people we are, we don't talk about how you are, what you're doing, how you're feeling. No, we get up with it and we deal with it. And those 6 months were maybe the strangest or the hardest month. And I don't know, I'm very bad at emotions. My wife says I don't have emotions. And I don't know how to express emotions, tears, joy. I don't know. I don't have in me, so I'm not going to deny it. I don't know how to express myself. We went through that element, and obviously we lost our mom. Reading was running behind the store, had people running it, but just lost it all. And
You lost it
luckily,
all in what way? In your sort of desire to
the
continue?
business to continue, because mom was more important. And my focus when I put the people in Reading store, and they obviously couldn't handle it because it was a big beast. So mom left in September, and October, lockdown started. Now, blessing in sky is that during the 6 months, we managed to get through hospitals and everything, because I was worried because with lockdown, we saw hospitals were locked down, all that kind of thing. There was no priority. So lockdown happened, Reading had to close. And it reopened, obviously, COVID. I think lockdown opened about a year or 18 months later.
It's about at the end of 2021, wasn't it, I think?
And because it was in the shopping centre, we couldn't get access. They said, oh, you got to pay the 18 months remaining rent that you haven't traded for. I said, it's impossible. So we can't do that. We can't afford it. We're a small business, self-funded. I said, well, we would then close the branch. Ended up closing a branch, completely shut down. Everything
Just that one branch?
Just that one branch.
Okay.
Because the way we structure our business, every store has its own liabilities and its own kind of thing. And we knew that the structure of this business, you don't know, one location could work, another location couldn't work. So what you don't want to do is have the impact on the whole company. And that's the kind of stuff we did. So we closed our branch, but now bear in mind the situation with mom, COVID, everyone is staying at home. I couldn't get access to the Reading branch, obviously. At that time, I think we had 4 stores. Uxbridge was on a high street. I said, during that time, Dad's shop increased because convenience store massively increased. I said, I'm going to go to the Uxbridge store. And I can't stay at home. I didn't even stay at home. I said, what I'm going to do is on Google My Business, what people used to do, what we used to have a lot of time is, they used to call us, say, I want to book an appointment. And they used to have the store landline. I said, I want to change that to my mobile phone. So I updated their telephone number, and I want to see if I get any inquiries. Because people still are using their phone. They're still breaking
More than ever.
Exactly. So I've turned it around, and I've turned it on, and I get a call. And this person's a doctor. He goes, I was going to my shift, and I've dropped my phone, and it's not working. I urgently need it. I said, okay, I work in a hospital. I said, great. I said, we do a click and collect or drop off service. I said, I will tell you where to drop the phone off. Give me half an hour. I'll get ready and you pick it up from there. So we made a little compartment outside the store where you could come and drop the phone. Half an hour wait in his car, come back and collect it. 1 repair, 2 repairs, 5 repairs, 10 repairs. We made more money in COVID than we did when we were trading normally. And I didn't have a day off.
Because you were creative.
I just couldn't sit. And because of what I was going through, I just knew if I'm going to stay at home, all I'm going to do is going to feel sorry for myself. Because the family was a mess. We all had to escape ourselves. And that's what we do. I escaped the real world by working.
I think a lot of people do that in retail. And I think that's why retail is actually a blessing to a lot of people, because what we say is that when you step onto the shop floor, it's a performance, right? Your customer doesn't care, as awful as this is, what's going on in your personal life. They're paying for an experience and it's down to you to give it to them.
Yeah.
So whether you're working in Harrods or in a phone shop or whatever the situation is, your customer in front of you is priority and you need to put on a show for them.
Yes.
And that's what you did.
You do. And you're absolutely right. It's every time we're putting a show, it's a theatre. And the bigger theatres you do, the better you do. So we did that element of it. And COVID obviously went past. Stores are okay. I'm still fighting my own personal battle.
But during that time, did you ever feel, okay, enough, I'm going to give up? Ever?
I had no choice. I couldn't do that. Because obviously I'm married. I've got a wife. I've got responsibilities. And she's been my biggest pillar of strength. Because I'm sure anyone that has a business and has got other halves, the biggest sacrifice that happens is the other half that faces it. You don't give them no time. You're working 24/7. Priorities aren't always home. Business, because you're thinking, oh, something, if I don't react to this or if I don't act, that's going to go disaster. It's going to collapse. So you always focus on that. So they suffer the most. So she stood by me. And she's so strong.
Well, I have met her and I know she's fabulous. So.
She's a very strong personality, totally opposite me, but she's very much my strength. So she kind of kept that, and don't get me wrong, we had our ups and downs like anything, because it took her a long time to understand me, what I want to do with the business. At one point, well, why do you need so much money? It's not about money. It lets me escape from what I'm doing in my real life, which to people outside might think like, amazing life, he's got this and that and this, but that doesn't matter. The internal happiness isn't there.
You lost your mum.
Yeah, and that ain't gonna go. And it's been now nearly 7 years, and that ain't gonna change. It only gets harder. People say, you know what, time is a healer. For me, time isn't. It adapts. It lets you adapt as a person. It's not a healer, because it gets worse.
It does, yeah.
But I think my other half of my wife, she was strong, and during that time, things went wrong for her as well with her health. So then I could not have a time to take a break. I could not put my foot down and say, you know, I'm going to relax. Let me feel sorry for myself. Didn't get it. She's touched wood in a much better place. And I think a lot of my strength comes from her. Because I deal with things in a day-to-day basis in a business that are controllable. I want to expand, I would do that. I want to make more money, I would do that. I want to go make my brand bigger, I can do that. She had to face things that were out of her control, and she got up and dealt with it every day. So she's an inspiration in that element for me, definitely. And it makes me stronger. So I think you had no choice to do what you had to do, suffer, go through different elements, but you did it. So I'm choosing to do this. And I think that makes me the person who I am. Yes, it's a bit of, do I escape the reality? Am I emotionless? Maybe yes. But I use that as an advantage. I use that to build strength in myself, but I know I have to look after my wife. I've got responsibility as a son for my dad. I've got my siblings around me. And we kind of do that to each other. We have our moments. And sometimes I feel like, oh, why doesn't he ask me if I'm okay? Why doesn't no one check up on me? But then I realize actually it's me. I don't let them know that I'm not okay. I have a friend circle that's a very small friend circle. And maybe there we let each other go a little bit and we kind of, okay, discuss about. But generally, I would never sit there in front of my dad and say, this is how I'm feeling. I said to you, I find it awkward.
Yeah. It's maybe not that. It's probably because you feel this sense of responsibility to get on with it, right? The sacrifices he's made for you to be able to do what you're doing now, okay? You know, maybe it's this front that you feel that I have to be successful because they gave up everything, a life where they could have been, okay, fine. They, you know, had to leave Afghanistan. They didn't have a choice in that. They went to Holland and then they made the really big decision to come here to give you guys a better life. And they've succeeded in that. Yeah. So it's almost like you've got an obligation, right?
Oh, yeah.
To do that.
100%. And when it comes to business and work ethics, there isn't anyone bigger inspiration for me than my dad. Till today, he's nearly 65 and he's still hustling more than me. So that comes from him. He's given us a platform. And I always said what he's achieved with maybe nothing in his pocket to where he lives now and what he does and how he lives, I should be doing tenfold more. Because he didn't get given the opportunity. He gave us a platform. He gave a platform to myself. He gave a platform to my brother. And what we've done is we've maximized. A lot of people out there say, you know what, I wish I was given a platform. I wish I did that. I appreciate that. And I think I'm very blissful in that element. My dad made that platform. But a lot of other people don't maximize that. They misuse that. We've changed it around. We worked hard.
But still give yourself some credit, Wiji, because yes, he gave you the platform by being here and obviously having his own businesses, but the ideas and the work ethic and the creativity that went into building the business that you've got now has come from you because you learnt it, right, throughout your own journey and the choices that you made yourself. So at what point in the phone surgery did you realize that you were actually building a business and not just surviving?
I think once we got to 7+ stores and COVID finished and we kind of quadrupled our store presence. So we said, okay, great. We're now established. People know the brand. We got approached by a large insurance company to partner with them, which we did for 3 years. We literally just finished off a couple of months back. And we knew people were recognizing us for our quality, for our reviews, for the brand, There's opportunity people that want to buy out the brand. We said, no, we believe in it. It's our kind of own brand. But for me, being me, I said, no, I want more. And when I said I want more, I want to be luxury. It was an element. It was funny because there's Selfridges, and I was more of a Selfridges because Selfridges is a more of a younger vibe, modern.
You spoke
And
about this.
yeah, and Selfridges was
Yeah.
always I thought, okay, great. I used to see, I think there used to be a florist it's in a florist in Selfridges, yes.
There is a
at the
florist in
ground floor.
Selfridges. Yeah, there
An
is.
independent florist, right?
Mhm.
I always used to see that, and I'm like, that independent florist is done so good, not big brand, but they're in Selfridges. I said, hopefully one day I can do something like that. So that was always in my back of my head that I would do something like that. I said, great, okay. So doing, but my mum, on the other hand, was a big fan of Harrods. She had this Harrods card, and don't get me wrong, she wouldn't go and spend £1,000, but she might go to the perfume floor. She might get a bag here and there, but she was a Harrods shopper. And I'm like, Mom, what do you do in Harrods? Like, we can't afford this, because I must have not gone at all. But she used to love it. I said, great experiences. So while I'm going the journey, and I don't stay still. Whether business is going good, I'm always looking for opportunities. And I'm a big believer, if you look for opportunities, they'll find you. If you work hard, opportunities will come to you. A bit of luck is involved, but
You make your own luck.
you can't be sitting at home and thinking it's going to come to me. No. And you will get knocked back. This ain't happening, that happened, but you still keep on going. So I said, great. And I said, I need to get phone surgery to the next level. What is it? Maybe get into department stores, that kind of thing. I said, great. Now, this is a 2 years process. Like, back of my hand, I'm making this business plan. And I see Vertu is reappearing in the market. Now, for the people that, maybe the older people will know about Vertu.
Me.
Yes. Vertu was a luxury phone when the Nokia era. Now, bear in mind, I'm from the phones for you, so I always knew of mobile phones. I knew the Nokias. They had these gold Nokia Sirocco that used to slide up, and there used to be a brand called Vertu. But it used to be £5,000, £6,000 phones at that time. Gold plated, silver plated, diamonds. So the name was always there, but because I can't afford it, I never thought about something, but I knew there was a brand out there, and it used to do really well. And they used to be in Harrods and Selfridges, and people used to show off with those phones.
They used to have actually a boutique as well on
Bond Street.
Bond Street,
yes. Now, bear in mind, I didn't know all of this. I just saw some celebrities or people on TV, and that's it. But that name was always at the back there. I'm like, Vertu. And we had repaired a couple of Vertus in our Wimbledon branch. So our store is in Wimbledon Park. And bear in mind, the people that live there, CEOs, directors, and they pay crazy money for these repairs. They said, look, no one else can repair it. I need to repair it. I'll pay any money. Great. So I knew, expensive. Somehow this opportunity came to me.
But
Vertu.
how? How did it come to you? What was the first conversation, and who was it with?
People will find this very strange, yeah? All my big opportunities have come through social media. Now, I am not active on social media. I'm maybe that silent person that browses a lot or looks a lot but doesn't post anything.
That's me.
Because I'm very uncomfortable posting things, and I find it, I'm not good at it. So if I'm not good at it, I'm not going to do at it. I've tried it so many times and I've failed so many times, I leave it. I can't do it. It's not me.
I can't imagine you not being good at it. You've
No.
got this amazing personality. You know, you look the part. Everything about you. You know, everyone likes you. You'd be great on social media.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it. You know, anytime, so I couldn't. But I'm definitely active by looking what it is. And a lot of times you get carried away and you look at celebrities and people's lifestyle. But a lot of time for me was opportunities. So we actually got insurance contract for Instagram. So they reached out to us saying, look, you guys are doing great on phone surgery. We want to reach out to us. And it ended up being a £5 million contract. Great. So I feel great, blessed. But Vertu, I was scrolling through Facebook. And this post comes up, do you want to be a distributor? I said, this doesn't seem real. Why would Vertu do this kind of thing? And
that was on Facebook?
It was on Facebook. So they were running a campaign, most probably. Now, bear in mind, Vertu's obviously changing. I'll go in the story about more of Vertu. I said, you know what? Let's do it. I said, I know distributor, great. I know Vertu Luxury. Let me put my name to it. Did it. Didn't hear anything for a couple of months. I thought it was a spam or whatever. And someone reaches out to me. Great. We've kind of reviewed your profile and great. And we want to arrange a call. I said, okay, fine.
And this is with Vertu themselves?
Vertu themselves. So a bit about Vertu. So Vertu obviously was a British brand, part of Nokia, used to be made in the UK. And I think they were doing very well up to 2017. And I think then the market crashed. COVID, Brexit, and Vertu closed in the UK and some of the Western areas. So America and all that kind of thing, and all the UK branches. And I think it happened all overnight. So what happened at that time is someone in China, a billionaire, bought the rights of Vertu because they knew the brand was very strong. But it maybe most needed a technical update, and technology has to be right because the market changed. We went from a basic Nokia with buttons to a big screen, apps, updates, and iPhone had taken over by that time. So they said, great. So they took over and they have then updated tech. So Vertu is now a brand someone owned in China, managed from Hong Kong, and they've got 14 stores in China. They've got stores in Middle East, Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, some other countries as well. And they said, look, we want to come back to Harrods. I said, okay. Harrods, Selfridges, I said, and these names ring bells for me. I said, great. But they say, we can't get in there. I said, okay, why can't you get in there? They go, we don't have that Western branding, understanding how to deal with it. I said, okay. I said, I might be able to get you in there. Now, knowing that I don't know anything about it, I had no clue. But I said, it's an opportunity. I said, okay, fine. We started obviously the due diligence. I did my due diligence. They did their due diligence. And I said, now, how am I going to get in here? So I had met someone a year before at Selfridges, a director that was a part of the tech. And I had approached them with someone else to put phone surgery in there as a tech brand. Because that was my vision, that put phone surgery in there, it would be great. But they've got an Apple store, a selective franchise Apple store there. And it didn't work out. But I stayed in touch with this person. I said, I know someone, because Vertu is a brand that's globally recognized. Now, we all know these luxury department stores want to have big brands. Why would they have a phone surgery brand that's got 10 or 12 stores? Who are they? You're non-existent to them. But I said, I know someone that might want to get Vertu then. So I reached out to this person and he had left Selfridges. He was redundant. But he started...
made a lot of people redundant after
Yeah,
COVID.
I think that's massive. And he's been there for 14 years, bear in mind. But he goes, been great news. I've started an agency where I might be able to get you in there. So that's my new business structure with another partner of his. I said, brilliant. I said, how can we set this up? I've got Vertu. What do you... He goes, I know about Vertu because Vertu used to be in fine jewelry, Wonder Room or Watch Room.
That's right, yeah.
I said, great. I said, well, you know about it. I know about it. I've done my due diligence. He helped me doing his due diligence. Everything added up. Now, dealing with that side of the world, South Asia and China, it's not the easiest. It's a different mentality, different structure. But me being Indian and coming from it, I get that a little bit. So I've got best of both. I know how the Western world is, how you can come across and what you got to say, and how that side of the world works out. It could be a bit cutthroat. It could be a bit blunt, but that's not the intention always. And they're always business-minded. So we said, great. And he goes, look, but I said, well, I would do that. I want to keep phone surgery within that. So we want to have both those stores in there. I don't want just Vertu alone.
So you want to combine both together?
Yeah, I want both brands in any of the stores I want to go for. Because phone surgery is my own brand, me and my brothers. And that's our baby. So I know it's got legs. He said, great, we can do it. Knocked on the doors of some big department stores. Rejected. No responses. We had meetings. Nothing. And I don't know why we left Harrods as the last one. So he sent out an email to Harrods, just about Vertu, obviously. And they've come back saying, yeah, we'd love to.
Is this with the buying department?
Buying department. Yeah. And I think he went out straight to the director. She came back to us within 45 minutes of his first email.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, that's strange. And I was baffled because it was never in our intent, because I didn't think we were going to get replies back that quickly. Because I've realized now in that industry, you got to get the buying managers or director at the right time, right place, all that
right
kind of
product
thing.
as
Right
well.
product, all that kind of thing. Otherwise, you'd be ignored because they get so many different kind of things. We arranged a meeting with them. We spoke about Vertu, and they said, yeah, Vertu had approached us a year ago. Directly, okay. But we didn't go ahead with them because there was too many issues from that side of the world to this side of the world. And we couldn't take the risk, and it wasn't going to work because Vertu had already left overnight previously. So they said, but they were confident that the clientele that they have, it would do successful, but someone else needs to run it. I said, that's what I'm here for. I said, that's what I do. It's my industry. It's my tech. I'll be in charge of it, and I'll be the partner in the UK and Europe. They said, great. While I did the whole Vertu presentation, and I said to Martin, the consultant that kind of was helping with it, I said, I need 5 minutes for phone surgery. Somehow within that meeting, I need to talk about phone surgery for 5 minutes. He was fine. I'll make something happen for you. So we done the whole virtual business, did great, and they were saying fell up. I said, but there's something else. Phone surgery. And they go, what's phone surgery? So we had prepared this one slideshow about what we offer, where we are, and why it would fit for Harrods. Because going to Harrods or Selfridges, it's not just about buying a product. It's service, it's the experience, it's the efficiency and effective. And I said, the repair industry of phones, it's become so big now, people can't be without it. And they saw the presentation and they go, interesting. They said, this could maybe work.
So they had nothing like that before.
Never thought about it.
Because they've got obviously the watch repairs downstairs. They've got all of that sort of stuff. There is Apple as well within the tech department.
Yes, Samsung.
So, all of that.
Yeah.
So they never had anything of the sort before.
Never. They've had brands approach for selling products, but never a service kind of thing.
Yeah.
Service, the only service they do is, as you, I think Chanel does some repairs, but they're all wanting people that sell products and then they do services.
I remember years ago, actually, they used to have a shoe repair in there as well, upstairs in the shoe, before it was a shoe.
Shoe heaven.
Before it was
Selfridges still does it. They do like sneakers refresh kind of thing, but Harrods might not do anymore. But they like the thought of it, the sound of it, that a client can come in, do the shopping, and if they've got a damaged phone, it could be fixed within half an hour.
Yeah.
If they need something for the phone done, and it's not just phone, it's MacBooks, laptops, everything. Planted a seed there. One after another, conversation, and it took nearly a year. They said, great. We will get both on board for you. Now,
how did you celebrate that? Someone that doesn't actually show any emotion,
nothing again, nothing.
You and my brother could get on very well.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing happened. Even when I got it all signed off, it's like great achievement. So what do we do next? And this is where my wife Sonia, she was like, "When do you celebrate it?" Like, what? I said, "I don't." The moment I signed a contract, I said, "Now I need to think about shop fit, design, elements. How do I get in there? And when I'm in there, what am I going to make? All that kind of thing." But it all aligned each other. It was all happening, and it's too good to be true.
Can I ask you a question, just to interject there?
Yeah.
With Vertu, it's such a prestigious brand, okay? Really well known, obviously, around the world, etc., for being the epitome of luxury when it comes to technology, right? When you had that first conversation with them, what do you think it was about you that they trusted with this brand? Or perhaps it might have been what you said to them in your initial outreach to that advert that they put on Facebook.
I think with Vertu or with Harrods?
With Vertu and Harrods. What do you think it was about you as an individual that they trusted?
With Vertu, that I said I can get them into one of these stores because I had a bit of an idea that this is what I need to do. So and no one else could do that. Everyone else said, no, we can't. We can open independent boutiques, but we don't think we can get that. And that's what I liked. People saying that we can't do it, or he can't do it, or I can't do it. I said, no, I can do it. And I had nothing to lose, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because phone search was running successfully, and I knew it would work. You know when you have that gut feeling, and I'm a almost kind of person that I want to do something different. It's weird. It comes from an element like I want to prove a point, but not to anyone else, to myself and my own capabilities and ability that I can do bigger and better than this. And that doesn't go away. That's till now. I still want to do better.
There's something you said to me when we met last week, and there was this fear, and I think we both agreed on it as business owners, right? That you have this constant fear every day that you think that it's all going to go one day. It's all going to be taken away from you, and you've got to keep going. You know, where do you think that really comes from?
I think maybe your upbringing and maybe the struggle and some of the things that we've seen. It's a fear that if this goes, how bad can it go? Seeing the other side of the world and life within the same kind of space is quite scary.
Because you're not old. You're quite young.
Yeah.
So to think about what you've actually achieved in a really quite short space of time, okay, going from the other side of the world, going through war, struggle, immigration, asylum seeking, all of these things, people wouldn't dream of doing that, really, or being able to get through these hurdles. And you've done it. And now you're sitting here with me with 2 successful brands in the most luxurious department store, essentially, in the world. Like, surely you need to celebrate that.
You know what? You say that, yeah, and it's funny. Like, I still don't feel it. I still feel the same guy that is running a phone shop in a small store. And maybe that comes from a dad where he has his feet always grounded. I mean, he's done very well for himself, but he will act like he's got nothing. He will never make someone else feel uncomfortable and make them feel. And maybe that's where I have a little bit of like, I don't want to go out and saying, yeah, I've achieved this now and this is it. No, it's not about that. I want to be, one of the key things that I want to take away from my dad and everything is the humbleness. I'm still a normal guy that has just business. Yes, the brands have got there and things, but I don't want to lose that touch. I'm still a normal person. And don't get me wrong, I like to have the finer things in life because I think we work hard for it, so we should have that. But that doesn't change my morals and how I do things. I've started actually doing more kind of giving to charities and people that need it because I'm capable of doing it, and I want to make sure I keep on doing that.
Well, then that's your celebration, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah, exactly. Those are elements. Yes, I want to give back now because Mom has left us, obviously, but I feel like she's even closer more than ever before, and I think that plays a part for me because I've kind of, when I was going through all that, I've lost faith in religion and God because we did everything to kind of keep up, but we couldn't. So then I have lost it all, and I don't believe in all that. But I believe in spiritual, and I believe Mom is out there that I do believe in.
Well, she's definitely,
Yeah.
there's no other way to say it, but like immensely proud of what you've managed to do. Now, you like the finer things in life.
Yeah.
That's the finer thing in life. So can you please tell me, why should I, if I'm in the market for something ultra luxury, why do I want a Vertu phone?
Okay. So there's a couple of elements of it. Now, the first element is you stand out. Now, the finer things in life always stand out to the normal things. Now, Vertu phones, the way they're designed, they're made, and the finishing doesn't look like any other competitors.
Well, I can see it now. It's absolutely stunning.
And you can bespoke them. So you can add whatever touch you want on them. That's the craftsman and how it looks. So the moment you put it on a table or you have it, it will catch attention. And people love that. Which is because you've earned it. The second element, the tech now, which I mentioned obviously because of the restructuring, is great because it's part of Android now. So you can have all the apps that you normally use on a day-to-day basis. It allows you to use it. But the key thing now is, what are we all worried about on our phones? Data. Will my data get hacked? Will someone get access to my phone? Spam, viruses, all this kind of stuff. And we see that phone surgery. We have so many customers come in for various reasons. Vertu is the most secure phone. It has different layers of security where your data is only safe to you. There's different profiles you can set up within the phone that only you have access to it. You can have your business, personal, private matters all in there, and only you have access to it with different encryption on it. So that is the key aspect of it. The third, which is a beautiful, and I think the cherry in the cake, the concierge.
Talk to me about this concierge.
Yes.
Is their name Ruby, I've heard?
It's called the Ruby Talk, the Ruby Sapphire. So the concierge button is made out of Ruby Sapphire. And the best thing about it is anything is possible. So you can press the concierge and you can speak to them in any language. They will understand that.
Is it a human being or is it AI?
It starts with AI, the initial conversation, and it goes to a human being. And then they will take over. They will process a request. And nothing strange, from booking a private jet to getting a restaurant booking in a fine dining restaurant to maybe getting a Hermes bag that no one else can get hold of it, and they will find it for you and get hold of it for you.
Wow.
All part of the service.
And that's included when you buy the phone?
When you include within when you buy the phone.
So in your experience of having one, what's the most outrageous thing you've asked of the concierge that they've managed to deliver?
So I was in Dubai, just Christmas and New Year's, and we wanted to go to the Carbone in Atlantis. And when you go in there, it's booked for the next 2 or 3 months. Impossible. Now, I have friends and family that work in the hospitalities, and I reached out to them first. I said, great, guys, can you give me? No, nothing. So I said, let me try this now. This is a real testament. Got in touch with the concierge. I think it was on the 27th. I said, we need a booking for the 29th. They said, leave it with us. Within 45 minutes, I've got a table booked for the 29th at 9 p.m.
Fantastic. I think that's worth its weight in gold already.
And plus, once we got there, we got so much more complimentary. There's complimentary champagne, all those elements of it. Because you are you're in that lifestyle, so you get treated differently, you get given priority, and that's what it does.
What are your hopes for Vertu now that you're in Harrods? Because you launched when? In October?
Correct.
Right. So you've launched in October. You're in Harrods, the epitome of luxury. You've got access to that clientele. You've got a beautiful product. Can I hold it?
Of course you
Because now I want one. This is the problem.
We'll get one orders for you.
I love it. And this is almost like, and I know we discussed this briefly, but it's almost like having a really high-end watch or a piece of jewelry or something of that element, right? So in terms of what you hope for your clients now coming in to Harrods to purchase a Vertu, what should they expect?
I think they can expect, obviously the brand is still there and it's got the same kind of ethos, which is security, craftsmanship and luxury. But what they can expect now is a better tech side of it, more adapted to the current requirement. And the biggest part of it is the service now. Because I run, obviously, the Vertu and Harrods, the aftercare is there. If what we used to have a lot of, and we still do, is a lot of people had Vertu before, and naturally you drop it, break it, something goes wrong, what do you do then? We can do it all on site for them. So the aftercare service is always there. And the element of it now is back in Harrods. It's there forever now, and it's only going to get bigger and better. But they will never sacrifice the quality of the product and the security of it.
I know you said you don't celebrate things, but what did it feel like when you first saw your brand in Harrods? I mean, I did a pop-up. I think I told you this. Supported Tom Hartley with his cars in Harrods.
Yes.
I remember having this conversation with him on the shop floor. I said, what does it feel like? He goes, well, this is it, isn't it? It's what you work all your life for. What was that feeling for you when you first saw, phone surgery and Vertu, which is now under your responsibility, essentially, here in the UK? When you first saw it there, fitted out, everything done, everything polished and done and ready to start trading, how did you feel?
You mentioned that fear. That's what it was. And now I'm in here now. I now need to make sure it stays in here. That's what it was. That was my instant reaction. And then after some time, how can I make this even bigger now? Because I'm not at the ultimate goal yet.
What is the ultimate goal?
There isn't.
Or is it constantly moving?
Yeah, there isn't. I can't say to you, because if you would have asked me 5 years ago, when we had 3 stores, Wiji, you'd be in Harrods with phone surgery and Vertu, I would have grabbed it. I said, yeah, that's the perfect thing. But there isn't. I think there's more to my journey, more to what I can do, and maybe more to what I can give back as well.
In terms of your entire story, people externally will look at you as this really successful businessman. You've got 2 incredible brands in Harrods, the epitome of success, as most people would put it. But what do you think people from the outside looking in misunderstand the most about you or your journey?
I mean, I get it. I don't get arrogance, because I might be quite a person that's got a locked door. I don't let my emotions. I'm a very direct person. If someone is not real with me and I know they've got different intentions, I will shut it off. I won't be rude, but I won't communicate. I won't build a relationship. So I get that love that he thinks of himself something. But deep down, I'm still that same guy that used to live on top of a off license with broken windows and likes to do the normal things in life, but with genuine people.
I think it's more difficult now. I think on my phone case I've got at the moment, which hopefully one day I'll have one of these. But at the moment I've got one that says surround yourself with people that get it. Yeah. And I think when you're in business and you don't mix with people that necessarily run businesses, they perceive things as being quite different, and they don't realise what actually goes into it. That emotion, that real grit, that it's not all sunshines and rainbows. It definitely isn't. Oh. But what you've achieved is phenomenal, and you have to celebrate that. There's a question that I ask everybody, because the title of this podcast is Runway to Excellence. So it's almost as though you've achieved everything you have to get to that point. Mm-hmm. I know you said that you don't know what the ultimate goal is, but in your opinion, what defines excellence within your business to you?
I think that customer experience, every customer leaves a good reviews and walks out happily. That's the biggest part for me. And secondly, is keeping my team. Like I was speaking to someone the other day and I said, I want you to buy a house from this job now. That is success for me now. And he was like, is it possible? I said, of course it's possible. And I always say that if I've done what I've done, anyone can do it. The only thing that you have to have is patience, resilience, and discipline. Sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice. You can't say, I'm going to have best of both. But if I can do it, and I've said to people, if someone wants to buy a car, and I've had people that said, you know what, I want to have a nice car. I say, you can do it from this job. When they achieve those, that will be success for me. I enjoy those kind of things.
It really it hits different, doesn't it? When you look at other people and you think, wow, you know, you've got a living because of something I've created.
Exactly.
That's pretty special. My final question, if anyone's listening here today and they feel that the odds are stacked against them, what advice are you going to give?
Discipline, hard work, and don't lose patience. It's easier said than done, but trust me, it works. But nothing will happen overnight. You're going to have to do it again and again and again. And if people are saying it's not possible, that is a fuel for you to make sure that it is possible. Because I could have said 10 years ago, no one would think that phone surgery will be in Harrods. A phone repair store in Harrods would have not even thought about it.
And for the most luxurious phone brand in the history of life to trust you with their licensing to actually relaunch it in one of the biggest markets in the world.
That's it.
It's an achievement.
Without any luxury expense. Yes, exactly. And that's what is possible. You just got to put yourself out there.
I'm super grateful for this conversation. I really am. And I was sitting here and you've answered so many questions so brilliantly and so in depth. And you've been so generous with all of your knowledge and information and really opened up about your journey. And I think there's so much here that is so valuable to anybody listening. So whether they want to work in retail or whether they want to launch a business or whatever it is, you know, you've covered so much. So I'm super grateful. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Just want to say thank you and credit to you, Stephanie, because I've always looked at podcasts and I've looked at all these kind of things that are going around. And people always get people that are really top end, but no one kind of gets the journey of the normal people. And I've always said, if someone wants to do something to really hit people and motivate people, get the normal people.
I just think it's important because my aim for this podcast and for my business and for everything we do is to change the narrative around the retail industry and the fashion industry and the lifestyle industry, anything in luxury really, because and it's like a broken record, but people buy from people. So if somebody listening that's starting their journey now, whether that's somebody that wants to work for you one day, they're going to buy not only into the job that you're offering, but into you and the person that is behind that. And I think by sharing your story, we're able to open those doors for these people and for them to see that retail in any capacity, because if you think about your journey, right, you started in retail.
Yeah.
Can really be a phenomenal platform for any career going forward.
I think retail is the most, nowadays same, as I say, but retail could be a very successful career plan. But people don't take it. They look down on retail. And I don't get that sometimes. Because it can open so much doors. You can make a brand out of it. You can make a business out of it. You can make a good living out of it. But it's up to you. It's up to the individual.
It's the attitude, isn't it?
It is. And then you build your team, you build your stakeholders. And I'm kind of glad that we're working together now with recruitment because it kind of allows me, that's the biggest challenge I have.
Well, I'm so happy that we were able to do that for you in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
When we got that message from you yesterday, I was like over the moon.
Yeah. And when I met the candidate you introduced, I feel like it's a no-brainer. It's just, let's make it happen.
I'm so pleased.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.